suppression.
Alright, part 1, Super Trooper. A little history of the build. I built an LS swapped Jeep Comanche that was pretty fun rig. Had a 5.3 liter, manual transmission, long arm suspension, coilovers in front, run on a 35 with Dana 44 axles. And I beat that thing pretty hard. Rolled it over once, jumped it everywhere, did some high speed stuff here in the Northeast, and had a blast with it. Got to the point, we have 2 kids, and I kind of wanted to be able to bring everyone out on the trail, so looked around in the market for SUVs that we could possibly build. 4Runners had been completely overdone, and I wanted something a little bit more unique, so I got a Trooper. Sourced one out of South Carolina, just a roller, no engine, no transmission, knowing that I was going to swap it anyway. So what I currently have is a 6-liter, a 4LAE. I have a transfer case that's set up to go in there as well. I have a set of Super Duty axles, gears, lockers, wheels, tires, shocks, kind of a bunch of stuff to go into this thing. The axles are out of Super Duty, hence the term Super Trooper. So follow along, it's going to be a fun project. Alright, let's go into the shop. This is the shop. Got a 10-foot box and pan brake here. Got a JD squared Model 3 tubing bender, a couple dies. Come in handy later. A little vertical bandsaw. A 14 by 60 Cincinnati tray top lathe that we call Cindy. And got a Bridgeport, kind of a generic DRO on it. Power X. It's been a good unit. Really pleased with that. Some drills. A jump shear there. Come over into the main area. Got a big old Miller TIG welder. That's primarily what I use when I'm fabricating in here. I am borrowing a smaller MIG welder that's underneath that fab bench there, but most of the work I do is TIG welding. Do have a 2-post lift here. Got a wall-mounted belt sander, cleaning up some parts, some hammers, hand tools, and just got this bench here. It's a real nice 1.25" solid steel top on that. I'm thinking about doing some fixturing maybe drilling some 5/8 holes for hold downs, but haven't quite figured out a plan, but it was given to me, so definitely will find a use for that. Yeah, so this is where we'll be doing the work on the Trooper. So fairly well equipped, not every gadget, but good amount of stuff to get the job done. All right, fun part.
be able to go fast with this rig. So I spent some money on shocks. What we have here is a 14-inch travel, 2.5-inch body, Fox coilover with the dual speed high and low compression adjusters there. So not a crazy shock, but certainly, you know, good shock to run on this setup. Running 14-inch travel front and rear. The rear suspension, we may be able to get a little bit more travel out of it because we'll be mounting the coilovers on the lower links, which will allow a little bit more motion there. So, yeah. I ordered all this stuff from Poly Performance, and they sent out some springs with some return labels on them. So once we have it on the vehicle on its weight, see if the spring rate will work, or we can ship them back and kind of play around, get a good rate that's going to work. Yeah, these, I'm pretty excited to have these. I had Foxes on my truck before the previous build, the Comanche, and I was really pleased with the way they worked, but this is just a big step up. Going to a 2.5 instead of a 2-inch body is really a big step up, and then having the ability to adjust compression and rebound here, high and low speed, that is going to be a game changer. Really excited for that. Then we can dial in, make it nice and stiff for driving on the road, not get a lot of sway. Go off road, we can turn them up or down. You know, allow the suspension to really move nicely. That's going to be cool. Pretty excited. Another component we're going to be using in the suspension, again from Fox, is a 2.0 air pump. This is used to slow the suspension travel down near the end of your suspension travel. When you're basically fully compressed, this thing's going to be what stops the suspension at the very end. It's a progressive rate damper, and so as it compresses, it gets firmer and firmer. And it really helps to control those massive hits. So most of the time you're not going to be whacking into this thing, but when you start hitting big stuff, and especially higher speed, this is going to take that last hit and slow the suspension down gradually instead of like a hard rubber bumper, something like that. And it's something where you can control the valving in it, right? Inside of here, you can put nitrogen in there, you can change your pressure to kind of play around with how it feels, make it softer or harder depending on what you're driving on, how much the vehicle weighs, bunch of other different factors. So really excited to have these again. They are expensive, but I think they're well worth it. Okay, axle stuff. We have some stuff here. We've got some install kits, got some Ziploc or air lockers from Yukon, and got some 513 ring and pinions. In the past, on that previous build that I keep mentioning, the Jeep Comanche, I had welded diffs and I had a 4:10 gear ratio. It was on 35-inch tires and it had a 5.3 liter with a manual transmission. It was all right. I couldn't really get it into fifth until I was kind of humming down the highway. On this build, I wanted to go with just nicer stuff, right? I was pretty cheap when I built that. I had welded diffs in it, which is, you know, it's inexpensive. It works pretty good on the trail, but it's really nice to be able to unlock and go around corners, especially being able to unlock the front diff. And then you can do donuts and just have a lot more fun off-road. So this time around, got the air lockers. This is gonna be like luxury for me. Just being able to hit a switch and lock in the front or rear diff. I'm a little hesitant on the rear diff. I'd like to have both tires spinning on the street even. You know, you whack it and you want to be able to go sideways. So, I mean, I still have the option to do that, but pretty excited for these, yeah. And then ring and pinion went to a 513, which is going to work really well, I think, with our 40-inch tire and with the 4L80 and a 6 liter. I'm hoping vehicle weight is going to end up around the 5,000 pound mark. And in that case, you know, the 300 horse, or depending on how big of a cam we put in the 6-liter, that amount of power should move it pretty good with this gear. I think it's going to be good, yeah. Yeah, should do burnouts.
This is not as much as sometimes I
All right, there she is.
No.
6-liter LQ4, 4L80, and whatever stupid transfer case it comes with. We'll get rid of that. Time to strip it down. Here we are, Trooper in the shop. As you can see, no engine, no transmission. It's got a lot of extra wiring and plumbing that we're not going to be using. Go ahead and hack most of that off. And we'll probably go on the lift, take a peek, see what kind of shape it's in. The front end is off. The inner fenders and radiator support all came off as one big unit. What we're left with is this front frame section, complete with all the IFS suspension. Now, all this IFS stuff was never going to be used. Running a 40-inch tire, we're going to put an axle that can actually support that under the vehicle. So I think what we're going to be doing is cutting off this frame section, getting rid of all this bracketry, so we don't have to spend a ton of time cutting and grinding on a frame section that may or may not be ideal for our new configuration. So for now it's going to sit. I'll build some supports to help locate this before we cut the frame off. And in the next section, we'll be hacking this frame off and start mocking up the new suspension and engine combination.